Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Seventh Rule with your stars, Cirroc Lofton and Aron Eisenberg. My name is Ryan T. Husk. Today, we are joined by superstar actress Tracee Cocco, also stunt woman. She was in Next Generation. She was in Deep Space Nine. She was in Voyager, also at least one of the Star Trek Next Generation movies.
3.
Hello.
Let's get it right, Ryan. 3.
Wow.
3.
Well, I said at least.
And she played a Jawa on Star Wars.
Hi, Tracy.
A little tall for a Jawa.
Yeah.
So first of all, tell us about your very first time coming onto the set of your very first episode of, it was probably Next Generation, right?
Yes, it was amazing. It was totally like being on a spaceship.
What was what episode?
Oh, honey, I don't remember.
Oh, okay. All right.
It was, yeah, I mean, I was on like for
Was
7
it first
years.
season?
Huh? It was right kind of maybe after when Tasha Yar left.
Oh, interesting. Tasha
Yeah.
Yar left and you came on the bridge.
Yeah.
So you killed Tasha Yar.
No, I
okay.
took her place maybe. But no,
You had her killed, Tracy. I know
killed
it was
her.
you.
I killed her.
So this one now we brought you on because this was your first appearance on Deep Space Nine on this episode Battle Lines. Is that correct?
Yes, is it Antikin you're talking about?
Sure, it can be an Antikin.
Yeah,
I don't
Antikin,
know.
absolutely.
I don't-
Very first episode on Deep Space Nine, you're an Antikin. It was kind of hard to see you because the whole episode was taking place off planet or off the station and on a planet. But I believe it was in the first 5 minutes of the episode, we see you walking around being all...
Yes, if I remember correctly, they had me playing pool, a game of pool.
Oh, is that what you were doing? So you were in Quark's bar.
Yeah.
And let's be clear, how do we say it, Ryan? Antikin or how you say
I've always called it an Antikin, but
Oh, I was corrected and told it was an Antikin.
Ah, there we go.
what'd they call
Now
it?
we know.
Antikin.
Antikin. Oh, man.
Wow, Ryan.
But, I don't know, But you want to hear a funny story about that day?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
We're playing
Well,
pool.
that-
Where was there a pool?
That was the day that Sharon Stone was on the lot at Paramount filming, oh, God, that movie where they're a voyeur. He's a
Basic
voyeur.
Instinct.
No, the other one after it. I can't think. Anyway, she was filming that movie, and I went out in the alleyway to get some air, and she beelines for me coming out of her trailer in her little white terry cloth robe, came right over to me, was in awe of the makeup, and I'm shaking in that outfit because I love her. So I'm thinking, oh my God, here's Sharon Stone wanting to check my makeup out.
Wow.
Then that led to her asking the security guy and me, like, what do I look like under that? Well, that day I happened to give him, he wanted a picture. So I gave him a headshot of mine, and he holds it up and says, this is what she looks like. Then she says to me, wow, you're so pretty. Why do you cover your face up? And I said, well, it's good money, and I don't mind doing it. And she laughed, and she goes, how would you like to come to our wrap party? Oh, the movie was called Sliver.
Oh, I remember that
Cool.
with
Yeah.
Baldwin, one of the Baldwin brothers.
Yes,
Mm.
exactly. So I got to go-
Billy Baldwin.
Yeah, so I got to go to her wrap party, and she also gave me her extra security guards to when I walked in. I had like a group of guys around me. It was kind of trippy.
Wow. And
Wow.
you didn't call me? You didn't call me to come
I
to...
didn't know you then. I mean, I might have known
Wow.
you, but, when I
Wow.
was working on your show, I was always Aliens and on Voyager too. So, I didn't look like me.
So a DS9 episode led to you hanging out with Sharon Stone at a rap party for Sliver.
Yep.
And have you spoken to her since?
No, darn, no.
Lost touch after. You must have had a pretty crazy rap party.
We had a crazy rap party.
And she was like, why did I invite her? She's insane.
Well, she probably thought you would take the makeup off, but you were still an Antikin.
Yeah. Yeah. She
And with those
Antikin.
and with those gloves, you probably just wrecked the whole place.
I did.
You couldn't pick up a glass of alcohol. You destroyed the buffet.
You can't do anything with that thing on.
Those Antikins.
And then plus it also had a contraption in my mouth, so when I bit down, the whole snout would close.
Oh.
Yeah, so they don't think, I might have to, I don't know, have water, so I had to do straws and,
Now, wouldn't that have been funny if you showed up out of makeup, right, as you are, to the wrap party, and Sharon said, "Wait, who are you?" And you go,
"Yeah, who are you?"
I was on the DS9, and I met you, and I was in this big Antikin outfit. She's like, "Yeah, I wanted you to wear that."
Yes,
like,
I bet she did. I got the weirdest things, especially when I wore like the Borg. I was a drone Borg, and then I was the regular Borg with the full face thing. And when I did conventions or when they had me do private parties for Paramount, especially like when I went to Miami, or I think it was Miami.
Private parties.
Yes, and I had to be in character. Well, coming back to the elevator, the things I would hear about, oh my God, the guys would love the Borg outfit, let me tell you.
Oh, really?
Hubba hubba.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it revealing or is it tight fitting?
Oh, it's very tight fitting, but it's all those, pipes, and I love it. I love the Borg. They're bitching.
It's all the Borg implants, I guess. Yeah.
Yes.
And
then,
no, go ahead.
And then I think, as you know, the Borg also led me to being Alice Krieg's stunt double in the movie, and right. I had to be her arms when she reaches up to grab his legs. Those are my arms.
When you reach under the door and grab Data's legs and pull him, right?
I think he was going up, and I grabbed him when he was going up.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, so I had the arms on. They fitted me for that. So yeah, it was kind of cool.
So you would dress up for parties? Is that what I understand? For, you said, events like Miami, or
yeah,
you'd be dressed up for parties, private parties?
Paramount would send a limo here to my house, and then wherever I had to go and be in character, I had to be in character on the streets of Miami as a Ferengi.
Oh, really?
That was kind of funny.
In what capacity?
I don't know. You remember?
Well, I mean, like, was it a what were you there for as a Ferengi?
I think it was either a party or a function. Honey,
I think it was to collect some money that was owed to Paramount.
Yes, it was. As a matter of fact, I sat on some guy's Harley on the street, and he almost had a coronary.
That's because you got orange on his Harley. That's what you're not realizing.
Yes, I did. And you are lucky, Aaron, because you could at least talk with your teeth. My teeth, I can't even talk.
Oh, and probably because, for me, they actually made a mold of my mouth for my teeth. And I actually still have them right there. Oh, look at that. Cool. You can see through that. Look at that. I'm like biting Cirroc.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that for you, did they? They didn't give you a mold of your mouth.
They gave me a mold, but I think it was like a generic-y kind of one, because I still have my teeth, my Ferengi teeth, and I have the forked tongue of one of my really cool aliens I did.
You have the forked tongue?
Yeah, I still have it.
Oh my God. I don't know why you don't wear that to conventions. Someone comes up and you'll blah.
I wore it out one time at a club when I was, going out.
A tongue prosthetic?
Yeah, Michael had it form fitted right to my tongue. So
Michael Westmore.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome! I would dress up as Gene Simmons from Kiss and do that.
That would be funny. Oh my God!
Great, good stuff.
Back to the guys. I'm sure they'd like that one too.
Yes, they
Wait,
did,
the guys?
as a matter of fact.
Oh, the girls too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're getting dirty on the 7th rule.
Well, you bring up a split end tongue.
Yeah,
I don't know what else to do.
Well, mine was 3 forks instead of
3 forked
forks. Yeah. Even more tantalizing.
3 prongs.
Why hasn't anybody cosplayed that, Ryan? I haven't seen a 3
They just have their mouth closed, but maybe they are. But Tracy, what alien was that? I don't remember that one.
You know what? I do not remember. You know what? I could go grab the picture if you want to hang on, but.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
If it's quick.
I'll run.
And then we can look at your pictures. So behind her, you can see her character in Next Generation when she wasn't an alien. That's when she was Lieutenant J. That's the role that she got the most often. She was in like 30 or 40 episodes of Next Generation as Lieutenant J.
Now I noticed it says Tracy with 2 E's at the end, and it's a little bit different spelling than the
That's
Tracy.
because the 3 E's was already taken.
It was already.
That's what they call a callback.
Okay, I'm back.
That's a callback.
That's a callback.
Okay.
Hey,
Are you
All right, we're ready for it.
Okay. This was the one.
Oh,
but
wow.
you don't have the tongue. I don't see the
yes.
tongue. Dude, that thing's
Well-
gnarly
Wait,
look.
hold it up a little longer. Thanks.
Show us what the tongue would do if you had it on.
All
Oh.
right, Aaron.
Oh, just really like a little snake, like a little
Lizard, like a lizard, yeah.
And then that one was on Voyager or DS9. I think it was on Voyager.
Wow, they all just kind of meld together, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Now,
then I was a necrit.
Necrit.
A necrete or necrit. Yeah.
On which show?
Oh, you know what? I think Voyager, but I'm not sure.
On Voyager, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You ever work on Enterprise?
No.
But you did do 3 Trek films, is that right?
Yes, the first 3. I wasn't in the last one.
Wow.
Yeah, the first one, I'm flying the ship, get blown out of my chair by the Klingon sisters, but I don't die, and then Marina crashes the ship. we always have that little thing.
Never put an empath as a pilot. Never. Bad news.
Yeah, and then the Borg one, I was me, but I was also Alice's stunt double, so did a lot of
Alice
a lot of
Krieger.
that.
I
And
love Alice Krieger.
Oh yeah,
He's so
great.
wonderful.
Yeah.
So after you did this episode of DS9, and you did this character, did you ever play this character again? And if you did, great, and how many times? And if you didn't, what was the next character you did on DS9? Do you remember?
I think it was the Cobarian.
Kukalaka?
The Cobarian. You know what? Hang on. I'm going to bring out the other. I'll show you. Okay?
All right.
Yeah.
Bring it all. Go get everything.
Yeah.
I love this.
It's the Stephen Colberian.
That's what I was gonna say, but I was like, nah, nobody would like that joke. So I'm glad you did.
Bad one.
Thank you.
You are hitting a few good ones though today. I like the Cirrocketeer.
Hang
Yeah,
on
thank
now.
you,
Bear
thank
with me, guys. Bear with me.
Yeah, go
This
ahead. Pat
one-
yourself on the back there.
So you've been so many characters that she actually doesn't remember how many characters she's been.
Yeah.
That's
Can
pretty
you see
awesome.
that one?
Wow. Kind of. Yeah, a little bit glare, but yes.
Oh, that looks like it. You don't have to put it so close though. I think. Yeah, pull. Yeah, there you go.
That's scary looking.
Yeah, that is. That looks like it's out
Wait,
of like
hold
the
it.
Strain or something.
Oh yeah, we've
The
seen
TV
that.
show The Strain.
And then
Or
here
an
it is.
X-File.
With here it is with the full-on like outfit.
Yeah, that's so scary looking. It's so Skeletorish.
Yeah.
What alien and what episode was that from?
That was from Total Recall.
It said it was a new alien for DS9 on my yeah.
On
That
your
was the
Polaroid.
That was the second one.
Can you shake it? Shake it? Shake it like a Polaroid picture? Thank you. Thank you very much.
You got a laugh out of that.
I got 2. Not from Ryan though. Ryan, not funny.
Then
Not funny.
the Borg drone one.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we can't see it too well, but
Pull it away a little bit.
yeah, and then angle it
There we
so
go,
there's not
yeah.
so much light on it.
Oh yeah.
Angle
cool.
it the other way. See if the other way works. No, it's just an overexposed photo. Yeah, that's great looking. Now, are you excited about the Borg coming back?
I'm so excited about the Borg coming back.
Yeah, why?
Wait a minute. Maybe she's gotten a call and she can't talk about it. How exciting is this?
Well, put it this way. I can't really say anything, but they have
Your number?
they have my shit. Yeah.
They have
They
your shit,
want-
but
they
I think
want-
having your number would be better.
Yeah.
Well, they have my number, but they wanted my, history.
Yeah.
And then this one was the Necrit. Can you see that one?
Yeah.
It's like a cat.
It
No?
looks like the production of Cats, the new production of Cats coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Oh,
that thing looks
Wait,
horrible.
I got one for you here. Okay.
All right. I feel like
in the movie Generations, right? I always say things happen for a reason. So I go and get fitted for this outfit right here, where I was supposed to be when they go to the holodeck and go on that pirate ship. Remember, and they're in their little cute outfit.
yeah.
That was me.
Wow.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
It looks like you were like part of Prince and the Revolution.
Well,
I was gonna.
I was supposed to be on the ship, with them all, but
Wendy?
they had
Yes, Lisa.
there was a weight thing about that you could only have a certain amount of weight on the ship, so they cut out a lot of things, and I was one. But then therefore that led to me doing my own stunt and flying the ship in the movie.
And then you just walked across the street to the set of Glory.
Yeah.
That was a long callback to Denzel Washington. I think it was Denzel Washington.
Yeah. So it's amazing how things work out. And
right?
I love Star. You got the whole. I wish I would have known you guys like more.
Well, I tried to talk to you when you were in the Antican, and you just kept slapping me. You just ignored me. I was like, I tried to follow you out there with Sharon Stone, and you kind of put your hand on my face, and I couldn't get any further.
It was one of these things.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
I always thought you were adorable. It's I wish I would have met Sarah. I wish I would have met
Well, I wish we would have definitely met, or at least had conversations. I'm sure we met, but I would have liked to get to know you better because
he always went back to his trailer, so we,
Well, I had to go to school, so that was one thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
well, let me ask you. So you work closely with Michael Westmore a lot. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And Thomas how do you say his last name with the make? Thomas Superintendent?
Oh, Thomas Supernant.
Yes, I can never say his last name.
Oh, we love that guy. He's one of our favorite people.
He did a lot of my aliens too.
Mm-hmm.
But Michael gave me the chance to do the Antican. He always had a guy do it, and he gave me the opportunity to do it, and he said I did it so well, that's when he started giving me all these other ones.
What's interesting about naming all these aliens is oftentimes within the show, we never hear of that. Like even in the script, there's no mention of it. And I'm assuming that these names are really born from the makeup artists or from Michael himself, right? That's what I'm kind of getting at. Where did the names come from? Like Ryan, you knew what that alien was called. I had no clue what that alien was called. So where does that canon come from for all these aliens that we see, even in the background, that may not have been featured in a particular episode, right?
That's an interesting thought. I would say that it's probably kind of like a half and half thing, to where like if they're just looking for alien creatures in the background, then they probably give the makeup people free reign to create, design, and name something. Now, if it's in the script that this alien from this planet, Jamaharan, even though that's something totally different.
Jumanji?
No, that's hang on, what's going on here?
Yeah, who's got lunch ready? Somebody's got lunch ready on here, and it's not me.
No, not me.
But yeah, if in the script it shows a planet of people from whatever, then that alien has to be named off of that planet. You know what I mean? If it's an actual like alien character that has to do with the script. But if it's just a background, they're just creating background aliens, I bet they do have some kind of free reign to just make up whatever names they want.
How did you know what this alien was called?
A fan told me. Fans tell me a lot of stuff.
Oh, a fan told you. So it wasn't the makeup artist. It wasn't Michael.
No.
So where did that name get designated for that? That's what I want to know. I want to know this.
It could have even been after it was shot. It could have been random alien number 42 maybe. And then when they're doing the credits or whether they're doing the toys or whatever, then they have to create a name.
Is there a toy of that character?
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
Oh yeah?
Oh.
Positive.
It probably moves, unlike mine. Mine is like a mini blow-up.
Yours is just like a little tough guy.
Then there's this one. Mary Kay was the one who did this makeup.
I thought Mary Kay did the makeup.
Wow. That is Ferengi.
Yeah.
It's legit.
And then this was number 9.
Way too many clothes on that Ferengi.
But I don't know what this one was.
Oh, that's a benzite. Look. Oh no, it's not.
No, and it says Voyager, so that's from Voyager.
That looks like a mugshot for some reason. Like he just got arrested.
Yeah, yeah, it does. But he looks happy about it.
Yeah.
He's a little happy about it.
Oh,
But and I also would
actually, hang on one
What I
second,
did.
Tracee. I forgot we got to go to a commercial real quick because I was thinking
Oh.
about my next question about all those awesome aliens you're showing us. But we're going to go take a super quick break, and we'll be right back with Tracee Cocco on the 7th Rule. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this very special edition of the 7th Rule with your stars, Aron Eisenberg and Cirroc Lofton. My name is Ryan T. Husk, and I'm joined here with Tracee Cocco. We're joined here, I should say, all of us, and she's a superstar and a legend in the world of sci-fi and stunts and Star Trek, and she's telling us all about her cool aliens. And we're getting lost in all these awesome stories, so please continue.
Oh, well, okay.
Well, we were last showing the mugshot of one of your aliens who
Yeah,
seemed
well,
to be
and
very
then
happy
I
that
would-
she was arrested.
Yeah, well then I showed you when they'd have me do the Ferengis on Aron, they
Yeah.
were always different. Now this one I really like. I mean, can you really tell it's a girl or a boy?
Oh, yeah. No, not really.
No, that's a cool
No.
looking one.
Can't
But it's
tell.
interesting. So you did more than one Ferengi, and in order to make the Ferengi look different, that's actually a good conversation. Because basically they'll make a mold of our head so the pieces will fit upon our faces and our heads. But depending on how they make those afterwards can change how we look. A perfect example is as I get in my Nog makeup oftentimes at cons, I feel that I don't actually look like Nog. And as I've seen photos, it verifies that because the nose is too big and the head's too big. And it's not quite made for my face. Even though I'm still using the Nog teeth, it doesn't work like that. So with your different, well, the teeth work, but I mean, just because those are in doesn't solidify, oh, there's Nog. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating that I can't get those right pieces. Unlike Quark, who put on the makeup Armin for the first time in England last year, looked exactly like Quark. Because Karen, who came out there to do the makeup, had all the original pieces. So that's important.
Woo! Bless you.
Sorry.
Bless you.
That's how important these pieces are and how the mold of our face is given for the artist to create that. So for your different Ferengi, what were the differences, do you know, maybe you don't know, between your different makeup pieces to change the look of each Ferengi that you played?
I'm not quite sure, but I had maybe the outfits because I had different outfits.
Well, then it would be the same Ferengi, but right, in different clothes. But do you have maybe two different? We could look at them side by side. Maybe we can tell that maybe one has higher cheekbones, bigger lobes, smaller lobes. Wider nose. It's got to be the nose and the cheekbones change how that face looks. Did you have another pair of teeth or just one?
I just had one.
Yeah.
But
But this is, while you look for that, I want to talk about this. Oftentimes when we watch different shows, I've often watched the teeth of the aliens, and it drives me nuts when these aliens look like something, and then they've got perfect straight white human teeth.
Oh, yeah.
Straight white humans.
It's a lack of attention to detail, in my opinion.
You know what's funny about that? I was actually thinking something very similar just a couple days ago, but just the opposite. I was thinking almost exactly the opposite. I was wondering, I was like, how come all the Ferengi have crooked teeth? The Klingons have crooked teeth. I was like, don't they want to fix their teeth? What's up with what's up with that? What's up with that where like an entire race of aliens, none of them wants to fix their teeth? And I'm not talking about just like sharp
but
or jagged
maybe we
teeth.
look at you going, wow, why don't you fix your teeth?
I thought you were going to say, why don't you fix your hair, you hippie?
You see that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good question, but that gets into a philosophical question, and it can go back to Twilight Zone. Remember that one where the girl is getting
That's right.
plastic surgery or something, and then
Yes.
distorted faces, and
And
it's
they have
all
that,
about beauty of what one
eye of the beholder.
One considers beauty and one, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and so that's that was kind of my next thought there was I was thinking, well, maybe they take pride in how their teeth come out. Maybe that's just like a source of pride. They say, this is what makes me different or interesting or unique. But then there's still the question of the health of the teeth. As if they're coming out like that, then they're going to get worn out in different directions. But anyway, that's just.
Well, we actually have tooth sharpeners. So
Right.
we want sharp teeth. And in these teeth, which is interesting, and I wonder if you've played the same character over the course of the years, not Lieutenant J, but one in makeup. I was thinking about this, that we messed up on the show. In my teeth, and I'll show this, it's kind of gross, but it's kind of cool. These are prosthetic teeth. If you notice in this top one, right, it's missing a tooth. You see that? Mm-hmm. This tooth has to come in. I wore this for 7 years. That tooth never came in.
Slow growing.
Yeah, it's 25 years later. I should go to Rob. Dad, what's going on here? Can I go see a Ferengi dentist and get a tooth implant? Because it should have grown in. And what they did, and I don't know if you've experienced this, Tracy, but they aged me in the makeup. They gave me cheek prosthetics several years. Probably, I think when I started to go to Starfleet Academy, they gave me cheek prosthetics to age me. And then Camille, what she did, this is kind of interesting too. She gave me freckles when I was young Nog and faded them as I got older. Now, the cheek prosthetics did make me look older because my face is normally round, which tends to be a youthful face, right? A round face. So in order they gave me those cheek prosthetics, but they never changed the teeth. I didn't even think about that. And I'm like, darn it. I should have told Michael, hey, we should change these. And you go, oh my God, great idea. So I really blew it. I should have told him that we should have had my teeth grow in, you know?
Yeah. Well, you had the top and the bottom, correct?
Yes.
That's why you could talk.
I had a lot of money. Ferengis. I was in a very rich family. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Sorry that your Ferengi was one of the lower.
Royalty at the end of the series.
Royalty get both, upper and lower teeth.
Tracy, you said you just had the top, so you couldn't talk?
Yeah, I couldn't talk, and it made my lip like protrude out. I looked like before. Yeah.
But that's the characteristics of your character, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and then there's this one.
Mm-hmm.
What was your least favorite or longest taking makeup application?
The one with the tongue. It was 6 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
They spent 6 hours on tongue stuff, huh?
My call time was 3 a.m, and they got done at 9. And then I was lucky enough that they shot the scene right away, and I was out of makeup and home by noon.
Yeah, because they didn't want to pay you.
This one was on Voyager. This was my number 10 alien, and this was a tac. And I learned that they
talk.
That tac.
They talk.
Ooh.
Now now how do they eat?
Well, if you look really, really close, you can see a thin line right around my mouth.
Oh, so it opens, it splits.
Where they had to cut it because I was like, I have to eat, you guys. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, Tracy, the reason we wanted to have you on this week was because today we are covering also Battle Lines, which was your very first episode on Deep Space Nine when you were an Antikin, as we were talking about earlier, and you educated on that. What can you tell us about that? I mean, it was in a you weren't throughout the whole episode, but I mean, do you remember that experience? Do you remember your first time coming on and being in Battle Lines, directed by Paul Lynch, by the way?
It was my first time. Michael Westmore specifically pointed me out and gave me the opportunity to do the Antikin, and I had a little role, I guess. I remember playing pool, so I must have been in the bar, right?
Yeah, but I'm trying to think where that would be. I watched the episode, and I didn't know you played the Antikin, so now I got to watch it again and find that. But I'm struggling to figure out where the pool table was. It would have to be in
At the
Cork's
beginning.
bar.
Yeah, it would have to be at the beginning because
Maybe it was the roulette wheel.
I don't know. I thought I remembered me leaning over a table and shooting.
Yeah, but Cork wasn't even in this episode, actually, was he? I don't remember seeing him in this episode. Neither was Jake.
For
No.
those of you at home trying to remember, Battle Lines was an episode in which Kaiopaka and Sisko and Kira. Is there anybody else? Oh, and
Every time I hear Kaiopaka, I want to think of Oompa Loompa, or I want to go to Mario, and Mario Brothers or something. Kaiopaka.
And then Bashir was also included in that. And they go off into through the wormhole because Kaiopaka wanted to go over there, no questions asked, and they end up on this planet.
She basically wanted an Uber ride.
It was like a penal colony, right?
Oh.
By whom though? That's my biggest question
That
about Battle
sounds
Lines.
kind of weird.
Who set up this penal colony and why?
Yeah, and they were like warring factions on this penal colony, and it was keeping them. The planet was also keeping them alive. Like they would die and then they would be reborn. And then if they left though, then the software or whatever that was keeping them alive,
The
nanobots. Alive. Yeah, the nanobots. So it was actually a very confusing episode for me. And then I remembered that I had to go back and look for the Antikin too. So I was kind of thrown off by this. But Aron, you said you had a couple important observations about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a tough, I'd really like to talk about it in depth because I thought it was a really well done episode in the sense of telling different stories well. You pair up people and they all had a role to play. It kind of reminded me of how like the Avengers or the X-Men all come together to solve a problem, and everybody came together to solve a problem, and everybody had a purpose in this episode. Odo, was concerned that Sisko hadn't come back yet, and he was trying to make it, or Kai, he was really concerned about how Kai not being there was, alarming the Bajorans. And he's like, we're going to have problems. And then you have Dax and O'Brien. We're going to figure it out. And what was great is you actually see O'Brien figure it out with Dax, how to get Sisko. And back on the planet, you see Sisko trying to mediate both sides, although he says, I'm not here to mediate. But and then you see him, basically breaking the Prime Directive, right? Because Bashir calls him out on that and says, and he called him out on it like a kid. Hell, that's like a jailbreak. And Sisko's like, bam, slaps him across the face with his words, of course, and says, don't you lecture me on the Prime Directive. And Sisko's wait, I'm like, and I was thinking to myself, boy, Bashir is always on Sisko's bad side. So far through the show, he's always just kind of, shut up, Bashir. Shut up, Bashir. Of course, we don't hear that, but I feel that. We need that line. Shut up, Bashir. Just go do your thing. And he's like, okay. It's like, okie dokie. And then you have
like what you mentioned was how O'Brien and Dax kind of worked it out. I did like that we got our first O'Brien and Dax kind of stuff. They're just officers. They're not the commanding officer. They're not a doctor. They're just like two Starfleet officers with a problem to solve, and they were on a run. It's really cool. What were you saying?
Yeah. I was just commenting on the same thing you were saying. Problem to solve. Yeah.
And then you obviously have the seeds being planted for Kira. This was in a sense emotionally a Kira episode, and you're getting the idea of she lives in violence. She was born in violence, and how does she move on from violence? And Kaiopaka has some words of wisdom. And it to me echoed a little bit of Sisko from the very beginning when the prophets, if I'm remembering correctly, were telling, he's all, why do you keep bringing me here? We're not. You live here. Why do you live here? In the space in the
You're
idea
talking about it in the first episode,
Jennifer,
right?
Losing his wife, and he has to kind of go through that. And in a sense, Kai is asking somewhat the same question to Kira, and she has this line. Let me see if I can find it. Why do people know? I wrote it down, or I typed it down. A few rocks don't. Oh, this is it. And it was a really great moment for Kira and Kai. Don't deny the violence that is inside you, Kira. Only when you accept that, can you move beyond it? So it echoed to me a little bit of what the prophets were teaching Sisko. You know, you need to, you know, accept it and move on. You keep living here. You're not letting go. A little bit similar, a little bit parallel. So you see this connection with Kira, her violence, as Melissa told me today, PTSD. And you have all these little moments, you know, being put in this episode. And I thought the writers did a very good job of balancing that. It never felt like all one person's episode. Then on top of that, we go to what Cirroc talks about with the philosophical and the moral questions the show brings. And you have these two warring factions that cannot let go of the violence. They literally kill each other, fall down, wake up, and go back to their corners just to repeat it again. And when they're given the opportunity to move on, to leave the planet and have an opportunity to move forward, to progress, what stops them? Fear. Fear and suspicion stops them from progressing. So that also was tied into this episode. And the line that Kai says is, they don't know how to do anything else but die. They've forgotten how to live, which is really a subtext for Kira. When will Kira learn how to truly live? And I'm sure her journey, this is the seed for her journey that we'll see on this show. So lots of really good things, in my opinion. And Sisko, again, in the eye of the storm, mediating all of it. And being, he's an interesting leader. I love watching him because he doesn't show this, oh, I feel bad for you. He doesn't show this, he has empathy, but he doesn't have this, he has a very direct sense of dealing with everything. Here's your options. It's your choice. I can help you and I want to help you, but it's up to you to take that help. So choose what you want. And then he kind of got stuck between both of them who couldn't let go of their violence. And,
well, you know, it's because there's a difference there. I think what you're pointing out is the difference with Sisko is between compassion and guilt. He had compassion for them, but he's not going to be guilted into feeling like, hey, if they're not going to help themselves,
right,
I'm not going to help them. I'm going to help them to the best of my ability, but I'm not going to like sacrifice myself out of guilt for, you know, this situation that they're in. And I was agreeing with you earlier that's Cirroc always now gets us to watch for these philosophical themes because he usually catches these for us. And this was one of those philosophical episodes where it wasn't like, there was less of a theme and there was less of a moral, and there was more of just like hey, sometimes you can't win them all.
Well, I don't know if I agree with you that. I think the subtext was actually much stronger in this episode in a couple different ways. You had Kira, and you also had these warring factions who couldn't move on, which was really for Kira to look into herself and realize, I'm going to have to make that move forward eventually because I'm holding on to violence also, because that's all I've ever known. And you see her connection with Kai Opaka and how important that is to her, as well as a little bit of her vanity. At the very beginning, how funny of it was that she saw the info from the Cardassians that put her as a minor resistance leader who was only there for errands. And she's like, what? And Sisko's like, when you're over yourself, can you please come on? Because we got Kai Opaka called for an Uber ride across the wormhole. And so she goes, oh boy, all right, I'm in. And then you got Bashir going, I got nothing to do today. It was kind of,
which I thought was funny. a little weird because, like, you know, a doctor's not on the station because there's stuff to do. A doctor's on the station in case something happens. And he's got nothing to do. Somebody gets a heart attack and they're like, oh, our doctor went on a vacation because he was like, oh, there's no, you know, so I was like,
but
that one doesn't
doctors
work.
go on vacation all the time, Ryan. Come on. They're literally live on vacation and are around, you know, for a couple months out of the year and they cram everything in those couple months. So,
well, they shouldn't.
Yeah. And let's see, what other thoughts did I have? And the other question I have now, the weakness of the episode I felt was, I really wanted to know who put them here, who put up the barrier around the planet, and for what purpose. And I was asking Melissa, do we ever come back to this? And she said, no. And I'm really disappointed about that. I was like thinking, were these the Telosians? Because were they, setting up this kind of experiment, or were they trying to teach these people something? And then if they were, then they kind of gave up on them. And even if they showed up at the end, that would have been really interesting. What if it's the founders, that did this? And or what if it's an entity just trying to learn about other races and say, look at these people, they can't move on from violence. And that could have been the role of Kaiopaka, rather than bringing her into this episode, which would have introduced a whole new element into the Gamma Quadrant, into DS9, as a race going, I'm trying to figure out, why do they live in violence? We are a peaceful being. We are a peaceful race, and these two cannot move on from violence, and Kai chooses to stay, right? But if we never revisit that again, then why did she choose to stay? That kind of bugged me. That was the letdown of the episode.
Cirroc, I was trying to think, do you remember personally any times where Avery's character, Sisko, was put in a situation where he just kind of threw up his hands and was like, well, because we always think of him as the guy that solves the problem and save the day. But in this episode, he kind of just said, well, what can you do? These guys aren't going to learn their lesson. I'm not going to beat myself up over it. Do you remember any other times like that?
Yeah, when I told him I was going to be friends with Nog. He was like,
you're right. You're right.
What can I do about this? I guess he's going to do it anyway.
Well, that's a fatherly decision at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
A father makes that and realizes my kid's turning into a man. My influence is waning. Hopefully I've done the right things in raising him, and he'll make the
right decisions.
Choices, the choices that benefit him the most. The reason I don't say right is because that puts a judgment on what we consider right and wrong, and sometimes we become better people for the wrong actions that we take. You know what I mean? We learn from those that make us better men and women. So, but as a father, you want them to always make everything safe. We want that bubble around them, which truthfully, the bubble, absent of the bubble, is truly what makes us the people we become.
Tracee?
Yes.
When your character is revisited one day as Captain J.
Ha! That would be so cool.
When that happens, can you think of any times where you as a captain would say, I'm sorry, guys, my name's Paul, and this is between y'all? Can you think
Keep the drama at the door, baby. Yeah. Hey, I do have a question. Okay. Do you guys remember, it's kind of off sort of the subject, Space Above and Beyond?
Yeah.
Okay. Was that prior, before the next gen, or kind of just because you wanted me to show you some stuff? I just found this. I was on that too.
Whoa.
Yeah. Space Above and Beyond, but I don't know exactly what time I was on it, but yeah.
You were just a baby in that picture, looks like.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, you want to see a baby? Wait, do you remember the Destruction episode in the next gen?
Mm-mm.
Well, Michael liked blowing my face up, so that was the Destruction episode.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's I kind of, when I first started, I think I started like in 89-ish, I think. And then this is Michael Westmore after me when I fly the ship. He did my makeup for when they blow me out of my seat.
Awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No. It's two different parts of this.
World.
Yeah, it's hard to. Yeah. No.
That's sorry, Aaron. That's just my
Yeah, sorry, I changed the subject on us. We've only got a couple minutes left, Aaron, but tell us, I feel like you had one more thing you wanted to say about the actual episode before.
Well, Cass is saying, and maybe I was rewatching it a second time before we started our show, and I didn't get to this point. She feels, she said she had died on the planet, as she did earlier, and that at that point the enzymes This is Cass, one of our patrons on our show. So they only can hear what I'm saying. They can't hear our whole show. We're working towards that. That's what we would like to do eventually. But she said, so she couldn't leave or she would have died. But I thought Bashir somewhere in there said, no, I think I might be able to fix it. And then he said, no, they'll all die if we take them off the planet. But I was thinking to myself, I guess I saw it more that those things were put in them before they got there, that just because somebody showed up and died, that would then all of a sudden the microbes come in them. I got to watch that again. So maybe we'll chat about this episode a little bit more in our next, maybe we'll do a supplemental log little thing, because I have to watch it again so I can answer Cass a little bit more clearly. I just thought this was a really good episode ultimately. So I think it had a lot more elements than maybe you see in the first viewing, or that you felt at first, Ryan. I think there was more to it and more seeds being planted. I think we saw.
I agree. I felt like that it was one that a couple of times this has happened where I said, I feel like I should have been paying better attention. Sometimes there's something that kind of comes up where, towards the end, I look back and I say, I think there was more than meets the eye in this episode, which is just about almost always the case with a Star Trek episode, or at least the ones that we're accustomed to watching. There are always metaphors. There's always subtext. There's always subtleties. Sometimes they're better delivered than others. This one I thought was in the middle. I
think it was better. I think
than all of them?
I didn't mean to cut you off, but no, not all of them. But we've had a couple episodes where I was like, and I actually thought this had a little bit more layers intertwined with themselves, to be honest. But apparently we do not see Kai Opaka again, huh? Kai Opaka. We never see her again.
Kai
Is that
Opaka.
right?
I thought that we did. Maybe it's in like a dream or something like that.
Yeah, because Cass says Cass is saying right now in this little chat, she's saying she said that she always knew that it would be a one-way trip. I wish they would have found a way to bring her back.
Sure, but she also says, hey, we'll be seeing each other again.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm new to the show, right? Watching, so we'll see where the journey takes us. But I am disappointed that we didn't find out how this was set up. Maybe it was the race that Tracee played, the Antiquans. They set this all up, and that's why you were playing pool. You were like,
that's why it was, yeah.
They'll just keep killing themselves and repeating. It's like the worst Groundhog Day ever. And it is an interesting philosophical thing is why isn't that they've been able to ever find peace? And the best question in here, or actually statement, and I'm glad I remembered it so we can finish it on this, or I'd like to finish with Tracee, but let me, oh my gosh, where did my notes go? Oh my gosh, if I ended up deleting them, I'm not going to be very happy. It looks like I did. Oh my gosh, it is too easy to delete notes on this phone. It really is. So Kai said, Kira said, why do you think the fear of death will stop you from killing each other? Because it's never stopped anybody before. Something like that. Something to the effect that just because people are afraid to die hasn't stopped people from killing each other. And that was a pretty profound statement as well. And it was a very good, they had some good moments like that about war and fighting, and that these people, remember, they weren't afraid of dying because they knew they would come right back. So, and Kira was saying nothing's going to change for you just because now you're afraid of dying. And that's a good conversation of like, wow. And they've never been able to find peace. And then I thought, is this connected to anything we are currently seeing in our country? Not our country, I'm sorry, our world. In different,
our world.
It's like I'm exhausting Ryan here. Oh, I didn't see the gotta go. You should have interrupted me. I was actually looking at you, Ryan, saying this. I'm sorry.
As Aaron says, we do have to go, but thank you all so much for joining us.
Thank you, Tracee.
Thank you, Tracee.
Great episode.
I can't see you yet. I see a phone.
No, he called in.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm back by phone demand.
Yeah.
Can you still see me?
Yeah, we can see you.
Yeah, no, you're fine. We see you.
You can take the teeth out now.
Great.
Oh, okay. No, I wanted to say thank you so much for having me again. This is my second time, and hopefully you'll have me back again. I know you guys are going to Vegas. I'm going to miss you, but I'm leaving for Canada tomorrow, so for VulcanCon. And I love you guys.
You too, Tracy.
We love
you too.
Tracy.
Thank you for coming on the show again.
Thank you, sweeties. Okay, now what do I do? Just
nothing. We'll see you again real soon. Thank you so much for joining us. For Aron Eisenberg, Cirroc Lofton, Tracee.
And Cirroc, it was great meeting you.
He agrees.
I'm sure he agreed, but he muted himself. Oh, now he's on.
And I'm Ryan T. Husk. Thank you all very much. Always remember the 7th rule. Hello and welcome back to the free-for-all with your stars of the free-for-all, Aron Eisenberg, Eric Smoke Moran, Dan Devey, Kat R. King, Heather Jordan. I'm Ryan T. Husk. Today's big question is, Kat is waving wildly. I love it. She's in a lift right now.
That's right.
So we're going to ask her all the questions so she can be embarrassed by her Lyft driver. The first question and only question is, what is the strangest thing you have actually witnessed with your own eyes at a convention, Kat?
The strangest thing I've ever witnessed at a convention.
I want your Lyft driver.
I just
want to make a point that, again, we have somebody in a driving car on the free-for-all. I'm just saying. Just very funny. However, almost every free-for-all, we have somebody drive. But you're not driving, so that's good. And now the Lyft driver has to answer the same question.
Passenger. Okay, well, the Lyft driver is looking for a bathroom right now. So as soon as we get there, we will share the question with him.
Wait, who has to go to the bathroom? You or the Lyft driver?
The driver. My driver, Benjamin.
So Benjamin has to go to the bathroom, so he's going to pull over and stop to go to the bathroom while you're waiting in the car. I'm very disappointed in that. All right, we'll move on from that.
Look, it's a long drive to Costa Mesa. It's a long drive from Costa Mesa to LAX. Yeah, today is an hour and 25. So to answer your question, there's been lots and lots of strange things. I mean, heaps over the years. I've been going to conventions since I was a kid. So the strangest thing I've ever seen really is usually people who come to the convention dressed in clothing or a cosplay that's a totally different franchise. And they're crossing it over, but it doesn't quite come off right. Or usually it's when people are wearing cosplay that just doesn't fit right. It doesn't work for me. That's the strangest thing I've ever seen. Is when people wear things that don't fit them properly.
Ryan thinks that's funny.
I'm leaving that one alone. Leaving that alone.
But what about, in general, people have clothes that don't fit them very well. Normally. We don't all have perfect fitting clothes. Right? I mean, I know my nog outfit right now. But it's a little tight. It's a little tight, Kat.
Yeah, but if it's a bit tight, I'd rather go with something that's a bit bigger than that, so it doesn't. I don't have the spillage. My what do you call it? A muffin top here? Yeah, muffin top.
Do we call that a muffin top?
Yeah. Do you call it a muffin top? Yeah. You know.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You know,
actually, Kat, I thought Kat called it a crumpet top.
I've been in the States way too long for that now, my friend. Good long time.
Okay, so that's Kat's. All right. Who's next, Ryan?
It's totally Dan, because he's still
Dan's waiting.
He is the strangest thing I've ever seen.
So does it have to be something that I witnessed personally?
Yep.
Damn it. All right.
Tell us both, because you've got a really good story. So
I do. Okay. So this is a story that John Delancey tells where he went to a convention and was super sick, like the flu and like grossness. He was hawking things up, but
that's great.
Yeah.
I love meeting one of the actors from the show, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, nice to meet you.
Thank you for your illness. Yes, exactly. So he was there and he still did his panel and, everything was fine. And then apparently after the panel was over, a fan from the audience went up to the table, to the dais, and took his water bottle, chugged it, dropped it down, and said, "I have the Q virus!" And I thought,
I heard about that story.
That's an odd thing to be happy about, but Delancey was like, "You're welcome. That'll be $20." something like that, you know? So that's the oddest thing I've ever heard. I don't think I've ever seen anything that comes close to being that bizarre, though.
Well, I liked Eric's reaction to that. You seemed powerfully grossed out by that, Eric.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, I've gone to a lot of cons and I've seen a lot of crazy stuff. It's hard to say, like, it's hard to pinpoint one. I can say the craziest thing, one of the craziest things that ever happened to me, but oh my God, I've heard about that story too. I've heard about that story with the lance and someone, and that's why I'm like, oh.
You cringe on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, hand sanitizer won't even save you at that point.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But yeah, that's I can't even get.
What if that person was no longer alive right now? What if yeah, right.
Oh,
We don't know.
Then I'm the ass, Aaron. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
I'm the ass who made light of it.
Fair game.
I should do my research. You're right.
If the Ferengi butthead fits, I don't know what to tell you.
You really did have the Q virus then. Oh my God.
Well, Eric, what have you seen with your own eyes?
Wow. Well,
Or
I mean,
heard?
we're talking about, well, a lot of times I tell people all the time in panels and all, spandex does not lie. Spandex tells the truth.
No, it does not.
Oh, we're worried about where this one's going. Where's the censor
Okay,
button?
let me just say this. I'll give you an example. This is one of my experiences. With a good friend of mine, he's doing this great, awesome suit, and swear to God, little boy comes up to him and says, now mind you, he's got this, gigantic.
Wait. Do I need to beep you? Am I gonna have to beep you soon?
Oh no, you want to beat me.
Check it.
But he's wearing this gigantic cup, okay? Just gigantic cup. What? And I remember it like it was yesterday. The kid comes over and says, "What's this?"
Oh my God.
And he couldn't say. All he could do was just look dumbfounded. I'm busy picking up on the side, and I'm like, "Oh my God!" So I mean, I'm good. I'm glad he was wearing a cup, but oh my God, when the kid did like this, "What's this?" And I just said,
if he was a true cosplayer, he would have fallen on the floor rolling in pain, faking it. That's not. Then he was like, oh, he's not wearing a cup. I'm just saying. He could have sold it.
I would have been down on the floor. And so that was one of the craziest things I've seen. Now, on a personal note, Dragon Con, I was attending Dragon Con, and I was wearing this big Dark Side costume, and Dark Side has different variations. This Dark Side has this thing where it's almost like a skirt, but it's like a belt and everything. So there's this bridge that you cross going from one hotel to the next. Bridge is normally crowded because you have a lot of people that are coming through. So my wife at the time, I'm like, oh, she's right behind me. I'm walking. So I'm like, oh, my wife is, holding my, she's grabbing my butt. And we're crossing. And so
on the bridge?
On the bridge. We're crossing over the bridge, all these people. We get over to the bridge. I noticed my wife was all the way on the other, all the way down. And so she comes over to me afterwards and says, oh, she said, who's that girl behind you? And I'm looking. The whole time it wasn't my wife who was holding my butt. It was
It was Marina Sirtis?
It was me. I'm sorry, man.
I
didn't want to be the one to tell you, but the whole time it was me.
He was in drag that time.
You're welcome.
Wow, man. And the ass grabber. The ass grabber.
There's always one, isn't there?
Those are two of my craziest stories I could tell right now. There's so many more.
I got crazy stories upon crazy stories, but I was just thinking you meant, just what's the craziest thing or strangest thing you've ever seen. So I was like, oh, well, loads of strange things. The crazy thing I ever did was slap somebody, and I can't believe I got away with it.
Maybe you just think you've gotten away with it.
Heather, have you ever had your ass grabbed?
It's been 10 years.
Or had anybody guzzle your thick water at a convention?
Not at a convention. I had it happen at a club, but not at a convention.
What's the strangest thing you've ever seen at a convention?
Oh, my story's so vanilla. They didn't unlock the door. They didn't unlock the door to the auditorium. I did have.
And what happened because the door was unlocked?
Oh, just people are kind of milling around, just like, is it here? What's going on? They weren't prepared at all. And then, they finally had to go find somebody to open the door. Actually, we were knocking on the door, and somebody who was inside the auditorium had to open the door. And then they had to go find somebody with the key, but nothing too extreme.
Okay.
Pretty mind-blowing.
It is.
Well, she did prep you and say, this is a bit vanilla, so you're a little harsh on Heather today.
I know. I can't help it. She's like the nicest person. That's why I can't help it. She's
man.
I want to use that, but I want to use that term vanilla. That's cool. I got to use that. That was a little bit vanilla.
Isn't that a phrase? I thought that was a thing.
It is a phrase, but this is the first time Eric's learning of it.
Yeah.
We all learn things at different times in life.
I'm on the East Coast, so a lot of stuff, like, I'm like, oh, wait, new terminology. I'm going to so use that line.
Yeah.
So using that line.
But nobody's going to know what you're talking about because it hasn't reached the East Coast yet.
Oh,
Don't worry, I'll be the one to make it popular.
And in New York,
Yeah,
but
Heather.
I'm just saying.
But I'll
All
make
right,
it popular
Aaron.
because of Heather.
It's your turn to blow all these out of the water, Aaron. I know
All
you
right,
have
I
a
got
lot
one.
of stories.
So at a con, the oddest thing that happened was this was early, like it was probably I was still working on Star Trek, and I'm signing, and a woman comes up, and she's like, "Hi," and I'm like, "Hey," and she's like, "Hey, can I give you a hug?" And I go, "Of course, sure." And as we go in for a hug, she goes, and she tries to lick my ear, and I go, "Whoa, hey, let's stick."
How does she not know? How does she know you don't have any diseases? I mean, how would she know?
Well, no, I was just like this, but she's doing the Ferengi. She wanted to, lick my ear and give me some, umaks with her tongue.
Umaks.
And I was like, whoa, let's slow it down. That's just the character.
Buy him a drink
on TV.
first.
I was very nice and gave her a hug still, and tongue went back in the mouth.
Eventually,
yeah. It was stuck there like a Christmas story for about 10 minutes, and people were able to put some warm liquid, and I was all wet, and the tongue finally came off the ear. It's because I had a very cold ear. It was icy cold. Yeah, that was probably the oddest thing at a convention that happened.
That is rather strange.
I feel kind of bad. I bet if Jacqueline Smith, I probably would have just I wouldn't have stopped.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Fresh as a young kid, so nicest actress I ever met, Jacqueline Smith.
I have a Jacqueline Smith bag. She like has bags and purses and stuff. I think she's got her own brand. It's pretty nice.
Nothing there I can buy. I don't think I have a Jacqueline Smith bag. But here's a good story. I was, as a young kid, Charlie's Angels was shooting at this park that my mom's boyfriend owned. So I got to go meet Jacqueline Smith, Cheryl Ladd, and Kate Jackson. Now, Kate Jackson taught me what not to do as an actor, so that was great. Jacqueline Smith told me what to do as an actor, and Cheryl Ladd was somewhere in the middle, more closer to, that wasn't so nice. Not so bad, but not so nice. Jacqueline Smith was one of the warmest, kindest, nicest actors I've ever met. She was so genuine. She was so nice to everybody. She came out of her trailer, signed everybody's autograph that was there to meet her. She actually used my pen the whole time, and I was okay with that. Even as, she's 13 years older than me, so I was probably 11, and I had the hugest crush. I'm like, oh, she's so pretty. She's so nice. She's so nice. And then I met Cheryl Ladd, and she was kind of in a hurry. I'm like, okay, she's got to go. It happens. Signed it real quick. And then I was up on the set, sitting in a chair, and Kate Jackson said to me, remember, I'm like 11, 10. Hey, that's my chair. Oh, I'm so sorry. And I got up, and she sat down. And now, as an actor who's worked on a show and been on things, I would have never done that to a kid.
Yeah.
Jackson, sorry. You lost me. You lost me in that moment. Even as a kid, I'm like, you're not a very nice person.
Was Aaron, was that the advice she gave you to never do as an actor? Don't be a bitch?
I think subtextually, yes. I think she didn't intend to give me that advice. But as life went on, I go, she wasn't very nice. I'm not going to be that way. But I'll be honest, I don't think I would ever see another actor do that. No one on our show would have ever treated a kid that way. They would have said, no, sit down. Yeah. There's plenty of chairs. Some kid visiting the set, no one treats somebody like that. Never seen anybody since then ever do that. It's not rocket science to go, I should treat this little kid a little nicer. It's not. But Jacqueline,
nowadays it would have been recorded and put on the tabloid.
right?
Yep.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
But now-
And viral.
TV stars nasty to a kid.
But now you have it on the 7th rule. Kate Jackson is not very nice to kids. Back then. But here's something I also realized saying that today. I was 11. They were in their early 20s, right? So maybe I
Yeah.
can't be so hard on Kate Jackson. She's in her early 20s, right? She's still a kid herself. So maybe by the time she got to, what was that other show? Scarecrow.
Yeah, Scarecrow and Mrs. King.
That's
Good
right. Maybe
show.
you like that? That was a good
I
callback,
did,
huh?
Yeah.
Maybe she
absolutely.
went, maybe I should be nicer to kids. And she goes, there was that one kid on Charlie's Angels. He had these cute blue eyes. He was so sweet. And I was really mean to him. And maybe she learned from that. Maybe I taught Kate.
It's all thanks
You know,
to
it
you,
would
man.
be even
I think
cooler.
that's what it comes down to. It's all thanks to you.
It would be
Scarecrow and Mrs.
cooler
King,
if-
thanks to Aron Eisenberg.
It would be even cooler if she saw you now and ran over to you and gave you a big hug and said, "I'm so sorry for doing that to you when you were 9
You know
years
what would be
old."
even
I
better?
learned my
Eric?
lesson.
You know what would be better if she heard of this, right? Sees me at Starbucks and I'm sitting down. She goes, "That's my seat."
Uh,
I would go, "Okay, high five. That's cool."
Well, guys, before we go, I do want to give everybody an individual thank you. Dan and Jiz, we enjoyed talking about Jiz. Do you guys pronounce it Jiz or Jis when you?
Yeah, I don't think we should say
we-
jizz. That's really gross.
Yeah, we tend to avoid trying to pronounce the acronym as a word
Because
because
you always have it as JIS, so I just thought you guys say Jizz.
well, when you say
It
it,
is.
Ryan, it comes out like jizz, which is not everyone's favorite thing. So we try not to do
Comes
that.
out like
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I
So
disagree.
we
I
just
think
say gays
Ryan-
in space.
Ryan, Dan, I've got your back here. Ryan, I think you're having a hard time with reading comprehension. It's space, not space. There's no Z there.
so they
would
pronounce
be
it
Jizz.
Jizz?
Like,
Jizz?
I get the gist.
Yes.
I'll bet you. I'll bet you.
I gotta get it.
I'll bet you everybody pronounces it Jizz. I am not that
Yes.
gullible. Yeah.
You know what, Dan? I not
know.
once had
Don't
thought
fall
of
for
it.
Well, I do not doubt that there are probably plenty of people out there who call us jizz, but they're probably not our biggest fans.
Oh,
I think they are.
And they're not us. They're not us. We don't say that. We do abbreviate gays in space as just gays in space, for the sake of time. But we say jizz for other things. Shouldn't have said
Like what?
that.
No.
You know what I mean?
wow.
So,
Wow.
Dan Deevy, ladies and gentlemen, no question is on him. He will tackle all the hard issues and hit them all. And Eric Moran, thanks for joining us and talking wrestling with us. You're awesome. We've got your Trek isolation behind us. That's
Awesome.
you.
That's right, on the sets. On
And
the set.
I do want to give big special shout outs to Heather and Kat. They've been invaluable for myself and Aaron and Cirroc setting
Invaluable,
up.
I say.
Yeah, invaluable.
How
in
to
a good
manage
way.
Discord.
They've been
Yay.
making the test calls and helping us with scheduling for all the guests that we've been having in this really big and hectic month before Star Trek Las Vegas. Kat, our king, has been like, it doesn't matter if I'm in a parking garage, if I'm in a lift car, it doesn't matter where I am, I'm going to call you guys.
Hardcore.
And then the other side of that is Heather Jordan has her new UFP flag behind her. And
Makes her look like an
Camera, like-
angel, the red angel. She's
Oh.
redhead, the red angel. We found our red angel, Ryan.
Oh.
we have
Oh,
two.
that's fine.
Kat's got red hair too.
Yeah, but she's got wings popping out, feathers popping out from her shoulders right now.
She's a film festival nominated movie now.
How did you know?
So anyway, and Aaron is very funny. So thank you for that, Aaron.
Poking myself in the eye. So bad, so bad. But they all laughed. They all, politely laughed. That was nice. They go,
Yeah.
he's so weird.
Yeah, you should hear the one-sided Discord conversation. Because earlier, all I could hear was Aaron say, "Ooh, it glows," and I was like, no clue what that was in reference to, but I laughed. So
She's like going, Aaron, your mic is still on. Ryan's like, I want to leave now.
No, I put it on speaker view for a second, and so that everybody can see the really good lighting that Heather has been working on lately. She's improved her lighting and camera situation. Looks really good.
thank you, Ryan.
Sure. So
Trying to make up for all the.
He has a glow. A glow.
So we do have to run. I'm going to see all of you guys in Vegas, right? Oh, except for Heather. Sorry, Heather, but we'll catch you.
Why aren't you going?
Yeah, I know.
What?
I know.
Just too short notice, paying for air ticket or plane tickets and getting
Take
a
a train.
hotel room.
If you drive now, you can get here by then.
Hitchhike and tape it all.
I really want to, but I'm hoping next year. And if Eric said that he could hook me up for the Philly Con, and I can drive there, no problem. It's like 6 hours away.
Already got you taken care of for great.
He's got me on the list. Yeah.
He's already got the ticket printed on his printer.
Yep.
Now you definitely have to go, Aaron. See? Now you definitely have to.
Yes.
No worries.
That has to happen, Aaron.
And he's
Are there more people getting in your lift, Kat?
Is this a shared ride?
no.
One?
Yeah, it's one of those shared rides. Anyway, we got to run.
I'm trying to be all gorilla about this, and y'all are like, no.
Yeah, no, not at all. So we got to run, but thanks all for joining us on the free-for-all. Dan, Eric, Heather, Kat. For Aron Eisenberg, Cirroc Lofton, Russ Haslage, I'm Ryan T. Husk. And always remember the 7th rule.